Hello everyone, this is Bytesauce and welcome to episode 25 of Feed the Beast Unleashed, and between episodes I created a new farm. This one's a sugarcane farm. He picks up the sugarcane and throws it into this chest. I haven't automated it yet to take it into my AE system, but I don't need it that urgently, so it shouldn't matter too much. I've also created between episodes a brand new alvery, so if I jump in here, I've got two. And they're both set up exactly the same underneath. But this one has Imperial Queens and Drones, and this one has Ebony Queens and Drones. So last episode I left you saying that I was going to increase the productivity of my refined, and this is my refined princess, and I've obviously got refined drones as well. And what I meant by that is I want to increase their lifespan, I want to increase the speed at which they work, and I also want to increase a few other things. I also want to change it so they can basically have all these traits as yes, because I want it to be diurnal, which is I think flying in the day, not entirely sure. Nocturnal, which fly at night. Flyer is they can fly in the rain, I believe, and cave is whether the thing can have cover over it. And now to do that, I need a few machines, which there's in total I think there's 5 of them that I need. So I'm going to craft them up, and then I'll come back and explain what each one of them does. So I've created the 5 machines. I've also created a powered furnace onto the end, and as you can see, it's filling with power as well as these as well. These are also filling with power pretty slowly, but that's because all it is a single tesseract. Now the power solution for now, which like I said is a tesseract, is not really suitable. I'm gonna deal with that later, but for now it will do, so I'll just explain the machines. And the first one I want to explain is the gene pool. Now what the gene pool does is it takes any bees you have and turns them into mush. So it squishes them down, draws out all the blood, and turns it into DNA. Now, if I throw in, I've just got some industrious drones here, nothing special, but if I throw in one, it instantly goes into this slot, runs out of power, very slowly gets processed, and once it's fully processed, it turns into 2% DNA. Now, as you can see, 2% full, that's of this tank. I'm not entirely sure of the size of this tank. I think it's just over 2 buckets or 4 buckets or so. But that's for a unanalyzed bee. Now if I grab my beealyzer and quickly analyze the whole stack in one go, which actually only takes up 1 honey drop, so it's kind of quite efficient. Throw in a stack and wait for this one to get processed. As you can see, almost complete, and that will create 7%. So it's gone from 2 to 7. Now the other one was 2%, so this one is 5. Now that's just from analyzing drones. If you process princesses, they produce even more, and they have the same effect. If you analyze them, they produce more. So that's the first thing I want to do. Now, as you might be able to tell in the background, I've got a tank. So what I'm going to do is pump out the liquid DNA from here, and I'm going to pump it into this tank. So I'm going to grab some pipes and stuff to do that. There you go, slowly filling with liquid DNA. So I've just run the pipe down there, and basically comes straight back up and ends up here. So while it starts mushing up my bees, I will explain this machine, which is an isolator. Now, what you do with the isolator, if you throw in any bee, drones, princesses, anything, and you also throw in these empty serum vials. Now, these are made using the royal jelly, so that's part of the reason I wanted to make royal jelly. If I throw these in here, the isolator will process the bee, and there is a chance it will take off one of its traits. Now, that can be anything from its genes to things like flyer and other stuff like that. Now, there is also a chance that it will destroy the bee in the process, but there is also the chance it won't. So in that case it didn't, and from that I got a slow flowering serum. Now I know from experience that's actually pretty pointless, so I'm going to take that and throw it into this furnace, and that will process up and quickly flash, which you won't really see, but what it'll do is it will empty the serum vial and place it straight back into the isolator. So this one is no temperature tolerance. Now that one's not particularly good either. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to let these process up a bit, and I'm going to get some hopefully good traits, and that's what the isolator does. Okay, so I've let it run a couple of times. This is actually the same drone, so that's pretty good. I'm going to throw these in anyway, but I've managed to get fast productivity, which is a pretty good serum. Effect cancellation, which can be good. What it does is any bees that sting, you can apply that to it and it will remove the sting, so it'll stop attacking you. Also got industrious species, which can be pretty good because we can apply it to any drone and it will turn it into an industrious bee. We've also got a couple of other things. We've also got a duplicate of effect cancellation, so that can obviously be removed. Now what we can do with these is if we take them out and we use this machine here, which is a synthesizer, if we put it in, it will eventually fill it up, so it'll fill it with DNA, but the thing is it needs to be provided with DNA. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to pump this DNA out of this tank and into the synthesizer. At the same time, I'm going to need to pour it into the purifier as well, so I'm going to do that off camera and I'll come back. Bit of an obscure way of doing it. Pulling it out of here, I've got a connector pipe there, an extractor pipe here, and then eventually it goes through the basic logistics pipes and then into the logistics liquid basic pipes, and these are set to request liquid DNA. So that's how I've managed to get the liquid there. And then I'm going to basically cover this with some of this snow brick. Right, so that's the liquid provided. So it's synthesizing up. It's using a lot of power to do it as well. And now you'll see it has one charge. Now I believe the top amount of charges is 16, so it will take quite a while to actually fill this. I don't know how much it uses per cycle, but it can't be too much because most of my DNA ended up in this one and not this one, and it's still working, so it can't be too bad. But I'll be back in a bit once this is filled up completely. Forgot to mention, on applying a charge to the serum, there is a chance it will reduce the quality, so it's gone from average quality to poor quality. Now, when you want to inject your bees with this stuff, you preferably want it to be excellent quality, like at all times. So to do that, once it's eventually filled up, you stick it into the purifier, and then you leave it in the purifier, and it goes over and over again, and eventually it will increase the quality to excellent quality, and once it's completed, it will stop. It'll stop working and remain in there until you take it out. So it eventually completed. It's got 16 charges and awful quality. Now, the thing about these machines is they take an awful lot of power to run. So I've just to run that synthesizer up to 16 charges, I attached this redstone energy cell, which I stole from back in my base. I attached it at full, so it was completely full when I attached it. And now it's less than half full. So that's how much it actually eats when you use it. As you can see, each one stores 50,000, so you can watch the energy very quickly getting drained out of it. So yeah, these require a lot of power, and that's why when I said the Tesseract is just a temporary solution, you can't run these machines off just a Tesseract. You will need a lot more power. So I'm going to let this go from awful quality to excellent quality, hopefully before I run out of power, and then I will come back once it's done. So we finally got our fast productivity serum to excellent quality, and it has 16 charges on it. Now if we take our refined princess and drone and I analyze it, as you can see, its current speed, this is the productivity one, is slower. So that's the same for both. That's the primeval, that's the one I wanted. Let's analyze this one. There you go. Both the princess and the drone, they are both slow. So what we need to do in the inoculator, and I've thrown the cell on the back due to it being able to use max input of 100 megajoules per tick. So that's quite a lot. Well, it says it uses 25, but hey. So what we do, throw this in here. It goes from this row here, and the latest one goes into here, and then we throw the serum into here. Once it's done its work, it will apply it to the active or inactive trait randomly, and then it will apply it to the other one. And then once it's complete, the bee will go into this column, and then it'll take the next one and apply it to that. So I'm going to wait for it to complete at least one of them, and then I'll show you the result of that. So it's gone around once, one cycle, and already the inactive trait has gone too fast. So if I throw it in again, then hopefully the active trait will end up fast. So there we go, throw that in, and we'll wait up, as well as the drone. There you go, 2 charges used up, and the refined princess has come from this lot to here. So now when we analyze it, you'll see that both the speed on the active and the inactive traits are now fast. So this will produce more combs, hopefully. So it will produce more combs, which will produce more products that we can use. So now I need to wait for the drone to complete itself, and then we can use these. and I'll show you what we're going to use them for. So off camera, I managed to get my refined princess and my refined drone to both have fast worker, and as you can see, my fast productivity serum has lost 4 of its charges, which obviously that's 2 for this one and 2 for this one. Now I'm going to actually use these to produce the combs, like I said last episode, and I'm going to put them into an alveary. So I'm going to build a separate alveary just for them, and the reason I'm going to do that is so I can produce some power. Now I've actually created this off camera. This is a low pressure, what are they called? Low pressure liquid boiler, and it's max size. And what I've set it up to do is, you know, set the steam into these 9 industrial steam engines, and then this energy conduit runs down here and goes into these 3 cells, and then once it's gone into them 3 cells, it comes back out, comes along this massively long conductive pipe, and then enters the 3 machines. Now I could have just ran conduits all the way down, but I felt like doing it this way, so yeah, that's it. Now what I want to do with the combs is I need to process them in some way, so I've got some machines on me. I'm just gonna grab some other stuff and then I will set them up. Okay, so I've come up with this kind of messy setup, but it should work fine. So the first squeezer I've got here, I want to set this one to keep stocked, let's say 8 oily propellers. Now the oily propellers will come into here, it will be processed into oil, and pretty much that's it, and then pump it out here. So that will go into this tank, and then we've set this to pull it out of the tank. Once I flick this lever, it goes into the refineries, gets refined into fuel, and goes into this liquiduct. Now, because the bee produces 2 types of comb, it also produces petroleum combs, which produces fuel only. I'm sending this into here. This is going to produce the fuel straight away, and then this will be sent into this liquiduct as well. And then altogether, this is all going to get pulled off and sent into a tank that I built earlier, which is here. So I'm going to hook it up to this tank, and then we should be done. There we go, fuel's gone into the tank. So all I need to do now is I've set up an ender tank on its lime green white, and I'm going to hook that up to the bottom of this boiler, which will then eventually start to produce steam and power and whatnot, and then that will be transmitted into this room. So whenever I need to use these machines, they have 3 separate cells all to themselves, and that should keep any sort of influx of power needed under wraps. So I need to build an alveary off camera between episodes, and then I'm going to put my refined bees into them and start producing combs. So that's it for episode 25 of Feed the Beast Unleashed. Don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and I'll see you later.